What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of the Casting Couch. We are your co-hosts, Kennedy Scribecast or Ray and Ray Johnson. We're missing our buddy Johnny Crown here today, but we're gonna hold down the fort for him.
Hold it
We're gonna go
down.
hold it down, B.O.B. hold it
Yeah,
down.
all we got.
That
Yes.
part. All right, we're gonna get straight into it. We're gonna do another section of top five. We're going to do top five underrated actors. So this could be
Oof.
like however you feel, why they underrated, whatever it is, like you know what I'm saying. But top five underrated. I'm gonna let Ray kick us off first.
Yeah, so underrated. So talking about underrated actors, we're talking about people that's not being talked about a lot, right? That's what we doing. Yeah. I kind of had to write that down because I had to go like look it up and do some research. And it was like I like my five. You know what I'm saying? I like my five. It's no order to my five. You know what I mean? So my five, my first one I'm gonna talk about is Lakeith Stansfield. You know what I mean? Like he
Okay.
he's yeah, he's not talked about enough. You know what I'm saying? Because Atlanta, just watching that show's so dope. I could name all of them in Atlanta. That's why I really
Okay.
went with him, just to be like, that was a group of great actors right there. And none of them are talked about enough, but Lakeith for sure, because jumping it from that to, man, the black,
Are you talking about one of his films?
yeah, when he was the militant. And it was about homeboy from Chicago too.
Which one was that? Oh, you're talking about the black. It was it
Black Panther. Yeah, Black Panther
It
Party.
was it what was it called? Dang it. And now I'm mad because it won an
Me too.
Academy Award. It won an
Yes,
Academy Award. Imma look it up. Imma look
yes.
it up. Go ahead. Keep going.
We gotta look it up. We gotta
Yeah.
we can't disrespect that. And that was my bad. I should have known the name of that, talking about it.
I know it's cool. I'm looking it up. Black Panthers. I remember it was, try a what's his Daniel Kaluuya was in it? You talking about
Yes,
that one? What was
yes.
that movie called? What movie was it? Dang it. This is
The audience gonna be like, "What are y'all doing?"
Black Messiah. Black Messiah. Judas and the Black Messiah.
Judas and the Black Messiah, yeah.
There we go.
There we go. So all of them, and I had to put, and the funny part is you mentioned it, I had to put a British actor on here. So speaking of Daniel, you know what I mean? Like, those are my favorite actors. I'm sorry, America. They handling business. They
They
making me
study.
they study. They study and they making me get on my shit. You know what I mean? So Lakeith Stansfield, I'ma switch it up. I'ma go Megan Good. Megan is a
Okay.
great, she has one on Amazon, a TV series, and that
Harlem.
was Harlem. When I saw Harlem, I was like, okay, girl. Like, I just remember you and the little stuff you was doing here and there, but that right there made me be like, okay, I
Okay.
really like where she's at with that. My British actress,
Okay.
Fandy Newton.
Yeah, yeah.
Fandy
That
can
is
play a
like yeah,
crackhead.
yeah.
She killed a role of a crackhead, you know what I'm saying?
She's cold.
Then
Have
you
you
see
seen
her.
Westworld? Westworld was crazy. If you
No,
see
I
that
haven't
with
seen.
it,
Yeah.
she's like one of the leads in Westworld. She murks
No,
it.
I seen the
It's so
trailer, but
good.
I didn't watch,
You have to
episode.
watch the
Yeah.
series. Go back and
Yeah,
watch the
yeah, yeah.
series. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's always been one of my favorites because whenever I see her, whatever character it is, she's killing it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Imma go, Journey Smollett. I love
Okay.
her in a lot of stuff too. Like, when I see her, I'm like, "Man, she's dope." The Great Debaters is what really got me going with her, and then she did that one Tyler Perry film that was that.
Temptation. Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, okay," didn't really, not say I didn't expect that, but for her to play that character and kill it, that was what's up. And my last one, he haven't been in much lately, but I watched the reunion of his TV series, and I'm like, why was he put in a box? But Jaleel
Ooh,
White,
okay. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Urkel.
Well, he was one of the OGs of being typecasted.
Yeah, he was typecasted, and for you to be able to put on whatever, the dress and everything, play that character, then you went into a whole nother. He played like three characters on there. That was
Mhm.
was that around Martin, or was that before Martin, or
Family Matters should have been around the same time. Let me
yeah?
find it. What?
and to be strong enough as a actor, knowing this is work. This is not me in real life to say,
89
Dad,
to 97. 89 to 97.
Martin was like 90. I think
Let
they
me
came
see. Martin,
when
let's
Martin
see what
first
year.
was 90.
92 to 97. So that's same era, same time.
Yeah, but that he was first. Where I'm going with playing different characters like that. So he did that, and then in the you could see where he said, "Man, the show is like not getting the right ratings." Went back to his dad, like, "Dad, I might have to put that dress back on." You know what I'm saying? And
It
they was like,
it is what
"All right, let's do it." Boom, ratings go right back to where they were. You know what I'm saying? And so just that right there alone, when we're talking about underrated actors, I had to put him. He had to be
I
in.
agree. So, it was very difficult for actors at that time to really kinda get out of their box. I think the one of the first 2 people to do it to get out of their box was, Will Smith and Martin. Like, think about it, because they were in comedic spaces and then went to serious acting and, like, well, drama, action, but still serious acting in Bad Boys. Other than that, who's really doing that? They went from TV to film too. A lot of people didn't make that transition very well. So I think it was tough for Jaleel White. But my thing is this, I think Jaleel White should get into thriller movies. I think if he started acting in thriller movies, it would open up people's like concept, right? Of like, okay, of what he could do. And then his transition into like drama would be a lot easier. But maybe he doesn't care. I mean, he's still Stefan. Right?
Right.
Like,
Stephon was the
he's
other one, yeah.
Steph
Stephon was that player.
Stefano is I remember I did I my little as a mind you, I watched the reruns of Family Matters because I was born in '95, right? So my recollection of it was probably like early 2000s when I watched it. But my little
Right,
girl hormones, I didn't know what was happening, but I knew when
right.
Stefan hit, it was something was
Them
happening.
something, yeah,
I was like, "Woo!"
yeah. He was all over the place with that show, and he
Yeah.
showed it. You know what I mean? There's that greatness, and too bad it wasn't able to capture everything that even similar to Martin and Will, but
Mhm.
on TV series like Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and Martin, he in a conversation with them. He in
We
the
might have to
same.
do No,
he-
he's in the we might have to do top 5 black sitcoms. We might have to do that next
oh yeah,
episode 'cause
that's
yeah,
next.
that's
Yeah,
that's a good debate.
mhm,
Alright, we got to come back to that.
yes.
No, I
Showtime.
love your list. I agree with everything that you said. Like, all those people I feel like are highly underrated. I'm gonna go no particular order. I'm gonna go with Idris Elba. I feel like even though
Okay.
he gets all of the like, he's hot praise, right? I don't think he gets enough praise for what he can actually act.
Right.
I remember one Netflix film, if you guys haven't seen it, let me get the name of it. Let's see. It's Elba Netflix film. It should have won an what you call it, Academy Award for sure. It was called dang, it was about him being like almost like a short dictator and they were taking Beast of No Nation. Beast of No
Okay.
Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, go back and watch that. It's
Yeah, I
just
think
Elba, I mean, he can act. I wish we would get him for the next 007. I mean, I don't think they're gonna do it. I think if anything, they'll start younger and do like a Damson Idris, especially now because he did that F1 film.
yeah.
So, which I haven't seen, but I hear it's good. But point is, he's been around for so long, though. Even his series Luther was killing it over there in the UK. So his body of work is really there. And I just don't think we talk about him enough. And he also doesn't, I feel like, doesn't get the same dramatic opportunities, right? Like a Marshala Ali or Denzel or some of those other actors, they get put in those roles. He doesn't get that casting. He's more in action lane, which is great. He kills it. But so I have him on there. Who's the other person that I said I had on my list? I feel like Daniel Kaluuya is still underrated despite us seeing him in some of the biggest films, right? And he did win that Academy Award. I still feel like we kind of sleep on him a little bit. We forget. We don't just naturally just throw his name in the mix. But I think for the younger generation, Like,
Right.
our generation, he's fire, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't seen a bad film from him, and I can go to even, like, his quote, unquote, "popcorn movies," like, Nope was technically like a popcorn movie. It was still a great film. It was still entertaining, the acting was good. Shout out to Keke Palmer because she stole the show in
Yeah.
there, and then fun fact, I found out that the whole thing, Nope, was actually shot in daylight. Isn't that not crazy? They did day to night switch. Now that's wild, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Like, you didn't even that just blew your whole head up. Like, they shot the whole thing in daylight, and then in coloring, they went day to night. So for the actors, they were actually performing like it was nighttime, but it was bright as hell outside.
That's crazy.
That's that's wild, and so for me,
Yeah.
that kinda takes a notch up on their acting performance of, like, you're in this imaginary scary thing, but it's, like, daytime outside. So, alright,
Yeah.
then perfect segue, I'm gonna go to Keke Palmer. I feel like Keke Palmer is I yeah, she's highly underrated. Like, her
She is.
her bag is so big, you know what I'm saying? Like, her getting in her bag is so
Kinda hate
ridiculous.
I missed her. Yeah.
She's so because she could do comedy, she can do drama, she could do a musical, right? Like, I'm just like, "Oh, yeah." Keke Palmer is like, let's not sleep on Keke, and she's starting to get these larger films. It started with Nope, and then we had One of Them Days, right? So, I'm curious to see kinda what her casting is. I think this little red hair look she got is fiery and it's hot, and so I think people are gonna start to see her as more, like, sexy, right? I think that was the thing, is, like, they needed permission to see Keke Palmer as sexy.
Do you think she took her time being sexy because she come from child acting? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, that transition, and it's
the
like,
transition?
you don't wanna leave any of them bags until it's time, 'cause them bags is nice, like,
Them bags nice. I could you look at them and tell them bags is nice.
them bags is nasty nice, like,
Yeah.
let me get one of them Disney Nickelodeon
Like,
bags.
look, they don't even be acting no more, and they still be living nice, you know what I'm saying?
They just be like they'd be they'd be like, problems? What are those? I got royalties." I
Yeah,
have
I got boys.
friends who are from Disney shows, and they literally just they live off of those royalty checks that they're getting from
Yes.
those sitcom shows that were on, and I'm like, "Yeah, more power to you." Even the Nickelodeon Kids sitcom, so I definitely think that was part of that transition, is just making sure it was slow and gradual, and then what I applaud her is that she did so many things, right? So, like, when acting was slow or when she was in that transition, she went to talk shows, right? And started doing that, or she would pop an
Music.
album.
Yeah.
What I love about her is she was technically a very big actor or actress and was still doing online and internet content, right? And would be making skits. Like, I think she's a prime example of how you could just always do something, and she's one of those people who've really written her own checks. When Hollywood wasn't coming to her, she made them come to her because she just kept doing something. She was always relevant. So, shout out to her.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna say, what am I on? Was that 3? I think that was 3. Okay, so I'm 4. I'm gonna say Zendaya. All right. And even though Zendaya is huge and she's huge when it comes to popularity, like people knowing her, right? But she's not in the conversation right now of like Academy Awards, right? So that's what I'm saying. I think she's underrated with her dramatic acting ability, right? I think
Makes sense.
that her ability to act on that level is there. She either turned down the opportunities for whatever reason, or she hasn't been given the opportunity to do that. But when Zendaya gets in her bag, people remember I said it. When she gets in that bag, I think it's gonna
Yeah.
go insane. Right now, she's been more on the movie scale. She's been more on like fantasy stuff. So you got like the Dune. She's been a part of big franchises. So like Dune, Spider-Man, right? But those
Kinda
aren't
like
set up
Zoe
for you.
too. Yeah.
You said what?
Kinda like Zoe too with that.
Yes. They're not set up for you to win any type of, like, an acting award, though, right? Like, they're set up for y'all to make money, which is
Money.
great, get your bag, like, for sure do that, but I think when she makes that transition and again, for her too, it's like Euphoria popped the cherry, so to speak, to where it's like, "Okay, Zendaya ain't no kid, she ain't on Disney no
Yeah, no
more."
more. Yeah.
Yeah, that part. So for her, now that we already popped that cherry, I'm sure they're like, "Well, what's the rush?" Right? Let me get all these $100 million film bags. Let me eat that up. And then there's no time on acting. And think about she's younger than me. She's like 2 years younger than me. She's 28. So like at any point, she could literally get married, have a baby, disappear for 10 years, and then still come back, act, and get an Academy Award. Like that's how much time that Zendaya has. So
Yes.
saying to say, I think that Zendaya is underrated in that capacity. And he's not underrated because people appreciate him, but I feel like he should be up in the conversation more, right? When we talk about like, right, it's always a Denzel Will Smith debate. I think who should be in the mix is Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
The problem is he doesn't have as many films, right? He doesn't have as many films as those 2, but,
He
like,
was he
what
was
were
the
you gonna
only actor ever to be nominated for a lead and a supporting in the same award show. He was for Ray and for Collateral. I love me some Collateral. That the one with Tom Cruise going around killing people. Jamie was the cab driver, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lawyer
yeah, yeah, yeah,
was
yeah, I remember
Jada
that.
Pinkett.
Yeah, yeah, that was good. That was really
Yeah,
good.
he got nominated for a supporting actor with
Yeah, no,
Ray.
he's a phenomenal actor. I'm just saying, like, I think what happens is he's so sometimes people are so talented. He to me is like a Kiki Palmer. They're so talented. There's so many things to look at, right? That maybe one portion of their of their talents, right, doesn't get the shine that it needs to get, right? Like Jamie Foxx as an actor, like if you took away everything else and just said Jamie Foxx is an actor, he's boldly top 5, maybe top 2, top 3, like, that part. And so I think he should get more, but honorable mention, right? I'm gonna say this, I guess if I had, like, a 5.5, right? If I had a 5.5, it would be Jeffrey Wright. Like, I
Okay,
was reminded when we saw, Highest to Lowest. Have you seen it yet? It's on Apple, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it on
I
Apple.
think I got.
It is cold. You gotta watch it. So, when I saw Highest to Lowest again, I was reminded about how talented he is. You know, some people are just so talented, like, they pop up, they do a movie, and then they disappear for 3 that's who Jeffrey Wright is, like, but
Yeah,
I've
but
never seen a bad performance.
don't sleep on Jeffrey Wright. He don't disappear. He might just go back to theater. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yes.
He might
And
just go do something in theater.
that's the other thing, these theater actors, they don't care. They know they could just they'll take a role, they'll kill the role. "Alright, let me go back to doing what's fun for me or, like, what's
Yeah,
challenging. Because theater is a whole different beast. If, like, you're an
different.
actor because it is live. The
It
mic is hot.
ain't
So
no cut. Let's go.
you better go with it. You better figure
Right.
it out.
Let's figure it
And
out.
every night is something new. So I think those actors, they take that challenge and like and run with it. So I love that. All right, well, perfect segue. Our debate of the day is what was the best era for black entertainment? Right?
Mm,
And so I am going to argue the 90s. That's my argument.
the 90s.
What's yours?
I was gonna say the 2000s because
Early
they
2000s? So
early
like
to
2000
two thousand and
20
twenty
20
ten.
yeah, okay. All right. All right. Go ahead. You
And
go
the only
first.
reason why, yeah, I was gonna say that is because they got a lot pushed to them because of what happened in the 90s. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like it was like, oh my God, they can make film and make money through that. They can have a soundtrack. A black record label can have a soundtrack for $100 million movie. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It was just a lot of it comes from that late 90s. You know what I mean? Time when you had the Biggie and Pac, and then we transitioned to Jay-Z and DMX and all that, and then boom, right into 2000s when now the R&B, was getting crazy with the R&B groups. Now we had 4 or 5 groups. We had 112, Jagged Edge, Drew Hill, not just Boys to Men. You know what I'm saying? Not just we transitioned. I think that part was we was transitioning out of Jodeci. You know what I'm saying?
This was Jodeci, New Edition, Boyz II Men. That was, like,
Yeah.
clear 90s. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but New Edition was 80s too. It was
Yes, yes, they were.
yeah.
Yeah.
So transitioning into those new groups and it was like they didn't let us down. You know what I mean? Like they held it up from what we was getting from our past groups. So that transition into that, then the rappers, you know, kept coming just as good. 50 Cent came '02 or something like that.
50
You know what
Cent
I'm
came
saying?
and ran.
Yeah.
West came towards the end, ran.
Yes, '04. You know what I mean? So it was starting to really go. And then when Ye came, he came with this big like stadium soul sound. You know what
It
I'm
was a
saying?
stadium soul sound. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's like the
yeah.
only way you can kind of pronounce it, you know what I mean, or talk about it. So he came with something totally different for with the music and um even I think around that time, yes, that's when the we was getting out of that Puffy Mace era too. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? And wasn't nothing wrong with that era. I'm just saying we was getting more into, you know, big stuff that didn't have to be so much money spent on videos and all this to do that.
mhm.
You know, so I think the 2000s, that 2000 to 2010 era is was it.
Okay, I hear you. I'm still going back to the 90s, and here's why. Because, all right, you wanna argue maybe music variety, right? Like, I could
Mhm.
see that for the 2000s, 2010, but the 90s had all 3, right? We 90s had some of the best black films of all time, like, literally of all time. The Best Man, Love and Basketball, Love Jones. Who Can Play That Game was the end of the 90s or early 2000s. I
Yeah, it
gotta
was
double
right
check
there.
on that one. Yeah, it's right around the cusp of that era, right? But like just those films alone were literally some of the best black films of literal all time, right? So that part. And then from a female perspective, right, the variety of how we saw ourselves in the 90s was just like it was crazy. We had every shade of black, right, was on television or film. Every demographic, whether we show black people rich, middle class or broke. That was all on television or film for you to look at. The series alone, you had Fresh Prince, you had Martin, right? And then what you call it, Cosby Show was still up in the mix, like in
Cosby
there.
Show.
Yeah, so that's insane, right? Living Single, like for black females,
Okay,
Living Single
yeah.
was good was in
Girlfriends
No, Girlfriends was 2000s. You would
of
have that one.
2000.
That was 2000s. And so that in itself was insanity, right? Then we had the music, which as we know, Tupac, Biggie, even Jay-Z, like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of Diddy stuff started in that era. Then we can talk about R&B, Jodeci, like Whitney Houston was in her prime, like in the 90s. Like just so many people. We can go on and on and on.
Right.
I feel like it was the pinnacle of black entertainment thus far, right? What I noticed is that what happens is from the 90s to the 2000s, 2010, then 2010 to 2020, right? There's this gap and especially when it comes to TV and media, right? That takes place. So, as much as you can argue in the music space, right? It was like it probably turned up even more for black people, right? When it came to opportunities and like people like you said variety, right? But in film, that mess turned down. We lost like in so many opportunities, less black people on film, right? Less variety of black people on film between 2000 to 2010. And the TV shows, it almost like it just went poof, like it just
Yeah, the
disappeared.
TV shows I could say kinda faded. But even in the '90s, we have a lot of black faces in films?
We had a
Not just black films, but in, you know,
in
white
film. Well, hell, we've never had enough. Like, I don't think in any era we can sit here and talk about like the ratio of black people in $100 million, not in 100, let's say a $50 million film, right? Like, which always nowhere near on the map compared to like other representation. So
so
I don't think, go ahead.
so I looked up the 2000 to 2010 era of film. Uh, that was Stump the Yard, Antoine Fisher, Baby Boy, The Great Debaters, Glory Road, Brothers.
You got
Trying not
service
to
in
make
there.
some of this who?
You got Service in there.
Yeah, White Chicks,
White Chicks.
Cradle to the Grave.
Okay.
So not too shabby, you know what I
Wouldn't
mean?
Rush Hour be in there, right? Well,
Okay,
Rush Hour
Rush
started
Hour,
in '90s though.
yeah, it
Rush Hour
started in
1,
the
Rush
90s.
Hour 2, but that
Yeah.
franchise is in there.
Save the Last Dance, you know what I mean? So it was some I'm quite sure this ain't all of them. That Next
It was
Friday,
more film, but
Brown
where
Sugar, Barbershop,
Brown Sugar, Barbershop,
Atla
TV
A
shows though
ATL,
disappeared.
Remember the Titans, Paid in Full, Drumline, Coach Carter.
Mhm.
Nice little era.
It's
But yeah,
nice. No, that's a
but
nice
the
era for
90s
film.
most definitely,
I feel like the '90s hit all 3 though. That's
paved
what
the
I'm
way.
gonna say. Yeah, 'cause where TV in 2000 and 2000 it was not where was the
Nothing.
black shows? It was
It
none.
was
It was
nothing.
That's So Raven, Girlfriends, and then I'm waiting.
Right.
I'm really waiting. I'm trying to figure that out. It wasn't until shout out to Shonda Rhimes, because remember that's when it opened up again. It's when Shonda Rhimes got well, she started with Grey's Anatomy, but that was a mixed cast. It was when Shonda Rhimes got Scandal on the airwaves. And I don't remember what year that was. When did Scandal premiere? Was it like '09 Scandal? Let's find that out.
Here goes some more. My Wife and Kids, The Bernie Mac Show, Everybody Hates Chris, Girlfriends, The Game, The Parkers, One on One, All of Us, The Hughleys, Half and Half, The Steve Harvey Show.
Steve Harvey show was good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tyler Perry, House of
that's the
Pain.
end of the UPN era.
Tyler Perry, House of Pain. Ain't that's still running?
It's still TP need his own show. He needs like TP. We just do it. We can do like what was the best Tyler Perry era? Tyler Perry's been around for
Yeah, this dude is crazy.
Tyler Perry is yeah, that part.
That's dope.
Scandal started in 2012. So it's when Scandal got on the airways, it was like zoom, and
Boom.
then next thing you know, it was splash, guys and girls. We were splashed all over television after that. Like Shonda Rhimes is man, something
Yeah.
that
I,
part.
I wonder why she never like wrote a film or something. You know what I mean? I guess she was like, nah, this my lane right here. I'm gonna stay in
Yeah,
it.
well, here's the also the other financial aspect of it is TV is the man. You get a TV show on a Big 4, you're eating for life. Like
Yes.
the other thing is like, why would you? Like, cause you make so much money as like a showrunner, a writer on TV, and those royalties. Think about how many times we've seen Scandal licensed on Netflix. They'd be like, leaving soon. A week later, it comes back. That means it got relicensed. Like, so she's got that. She's got How to Get Away with
Get Away with
Murder,
Murder.
Grey's
I
Anatomy,
still
which
watch that.
still is still yeah, that part. Grey's Anatomy is still on. Like hell,
Still on.
they still put Trevor Jackson. That's why that Disney money is something, because Disney will keep your butt around for 30 years. They'll put
Yeah.
you on the kid shows, then bring you back on the adult shows.
Yeah.
You got that, and then she's got Bridgerton. That's another one through
Bridgerton.
Netflix. John Rhimes' kids is gonna be straight
We
because
missing one.
yeah, we are missing one. There's all
Yeah.
those spinoffs of Bridgerton. There's like 4 spinoffs.
No, not just her, not just spinoffs.
Shonda Rhimes TV shows. Okay, let's see. Dang, this is a lot of them. I don't even remember this. Some of these didn't do as well. We got Private Practice 2007. Maybe she was just a writer on that. Oh, Inventing Anna. I think that was a limited series. Queen Charlotte, Gilded Lilies. I don't remember that one. Off the Map. That was a one and done. What else? Inside the Box. I don't know that. The
Yeah.
writer's room? I have no idea what that is. Yeah. I think that's our main ones, but nonetheless, Shonda Rhimes is a super tight. Alright, let's segue. Let's go to the next one. So, there's this huge debate, right, that's going on right now amongst everybody, whether it's black entertainers, white entertainers, filmmakers, whatever, right? And the question is Hollywood dead? And I'll give you some context. Gavin Newsom, about maybe month and a half ago. If you guys don't know, that's the governor of California. just announced that they were going to increase the tax credit for filmmakers and television show makers, producers, whatever, right? In California up to like 200 and something million, or it's a lot. It's a lot of money, right? Of an increase, because everybody was complaining that people were leaving and going to make their shows, films, etc. elsewhere, right? So that took place, and he's like, "Okay, we're back." Okay, so that's part 1. Part 2, Marvel Studios is leaving Atlanta. So I guess that was a good chunk of the jobs out there in Atlanta for filmmakers beyond like independent creators, right? People were getting jobs on Marvel sets because let's say like, Infinity War, you could see some of them scenes. What's that scene where they running in the grass and they moving or whatever, right? Like it takes 300 plus people to pull off that
Got
scene,
that.
whether you're
Yeah.
an extra, a crew member, whatever, right? So a lot of people was eating off of Marvel Studios filmmaking process for the superhero films. They said that they're leaving ATL, right? And they're dipping out and they're going to the UK. They're gone. They're going over there. Yes, that's a big move, right? Because they said this, two things, right? When you film over there, there's better tax credits, which essentially means, if you guys don't know what that means, a tax credit is like, let's say I shot a film, I'll do it like for $1 million, right? Like the state of California potentially could give me a tax credit, meaning I get a certain amount back. Let's say it's like 500,000. So then technically I only spent 500,000, right? So then I license this film. Let's say I licensed a film for 10 million, right? Then my profit margin went up. That's the whole concept, right? Why people are trying to find some place to shoot where a tax credit is at. Now that you
Right.
know that context, that's why Marvel's leaving. And then the second thing they said is the healthcare subsidies, right, are cheaper, which in layman term, we ain't got to pay certain things if we go overseas and we
Right.
shoot. So a lot
Because
of
the
big
country
studios,
affairs.
that part, a lot of big studios are going overseas, right? And then a lot of like mid-level, whatever, they're finding these other states outside of California to shoot because they have better tax credits. Like, let's say Ohio has some stuff. So the question is Hollywood dead? What are your thoughts, Ray?
Filming in Hollywood is dying. Like you said, like they had to say, "Hey, here's 200 mil for tax credit." Like, why is it just not a tax credit? In general, why is it a limit? Because it's still a limit if you're saying an amount. You know what I mean?
It's always a limit.
Yeah. So with that being said, the filming is dying down. People don't want to shoot here, but of course, they're gonna bring everything back for the award shows and do this to say this is Hollywood. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm surprised Marvel will leave. They must be getting a great deal from the UK to leave Atlanta. You know what I mean? When you said they left Atlanta, I'm like, where they going? Mississippi? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Atlanta already cheap, so
right,
where's
getting them good
where's
taxes.
cheaper?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, where you going? So it's like, oh, UK. That's why I was like, oh, it surprised me. But now they got to fly people over there, or British actors taking over.
That's an interesting theory. I guess we're gonna find out. Yeah, that's an interesting theory. Um, so you think Hollywood is dead. So I would say this: old Hollywood is dead. Old Hollywood, as we know it, is dead. The
What do you
hundred
mean,
million
old
dollar.
Hollywood?
So yeah, I'll explain. The $100 million film, right, is no point of making it, unless you're doing a action, unless you're making a Marvel movie, like literally, unless you're making a Marvel movie or a DC movie, that's the only way you're making that money back, because the action film or a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible, right? Everything kind of in that scope, because that transfers over languages. You're also not making that money back in the US. You're making that money because it's going to be an international film. So you're
Yeah,
making an international worldwide film, then that space still exists, right? But how many of those are coming out or being made a year? Like what? One, or Marvel's making all of them. So three, right? Like, so that's no longer the $50 million film space, right? That which would be like your Denzel Washington films or your Meryl Streep films, right? Those are kind of like the $50 million film space. That is dying too, because to my point, There's not a business structure anymore to make that money back. Like I for sure made it back. Right? The new business structure for them to make it back is to already sell that film to a streaming platform. And the problem is that streaming platform can make their own film now because they figured that out, right? So like
Right.
you're not going to make it back in theaters in America. So it has to be something that's like universal. And if it's not an action film, then it's hard to be international because kicking butt, you don't need to know the language, right? You'll
Right.
watch a talk over of kicking butt all
Yeah.
day long, right? With like dialogue and emotions and all of that, a lot of that is cultural, so it may not land right in the same spot. So I
Yeah.
think that is dead, right? I think the $1 to $10 million film space is live and it's hitting, right? And those people, that's why they're going to Ohio, right? That's why they're going all these other places. And to the point, like you said, filming in Hollywood is dead. We have way too much red tape. The permit process in LA is egregiously horrible and
Hmm.
egregiously stupid, I might add. Like they want you to
Right.
have somebody watch the property and put out signs when you're not even filming someplace. Like it's insane, right? So like no. And then the other problem, right, is that who should be getting the tax credits are people like me and Ray.
Right.
That's who you need to give the tax credits to.
Yeah. Tax
We're the
credits
people.
Amazon. You know what I'm saying?
Anybody who's at $250,000 budget or below, man, if you would do that, it would be Hollywood would be booming because people like us are taking that opportunity and we're going to make it an amazing film, right? Like, right? And then you'll get more diversity in your films. You'll get all types of stuff. And if you want to, like, have some guidelines, like it has to be a positive film or something that brings cultural awareness or whatever it is, right? Like, then you can have that. But like, give those tax credits to people like me and Ray, right? Because that's what's going to drive the new Hollywood. Because that's what the new Hollywood is. New Hollywood is independent filmmakers who are out here saying, I'm going to make a dope film, right? And then I'm going to put it out on an AVOD platform, right? And I'm going to make my money back. Where I'm trying to get this film seen by the widest audience possible, right? The most people that could see it, right? As
Right.
possible. And if you're doing that, but like those are the so whatever's we got 50 states here. Here's the challenge. Here's the challenge I'm gonna put out there. 50 states, right? Whatever governor's like, yo, I want to mess with the independent filmmakers and starts doing a $50,000 tax credit, a 50K tax credit, meaning like you shoot for 100,000, we'll pay off 50, or you shoot for 75, we'll pay off 50, right? That part.
Mhm.
People are going to move there. It could be Montana, and people
Yeah.
are going to move there, and you will drive in an economy based off of that, and people will be given jobs, all types of stuff, right? Like that's what it needs to be. So is Hollywood dead? Old Hollywood is dead as hell. And
Right.
literally they're dying because these people in old Hollywood are old as hell. They're 80s. They're 90 years old, right? And now it's their kids, right? That it's time for them like to step up.
Yeah. But the thing with that too is, so you were saying like the 50. Remember, Denzel and Meryl Streep at one point was getting a 20 mil, like up front.
They was.
Okay, is that dead? Is that dead too?
It's not dead for Denzel. It's not dead for Meryl Streep because those are those people, right? Like, but is it dead for like the person who had one hit film that would like okay maybe yeah hell yeah it's dead for those people. It's not
Okay.
dead for Tom Cruise. He's getting his money,
He
but
getting
like
his.
but like
He's
I
still in
let's
his
put it this
own.
way:
To me, Tom Cruise still in his own lane, and he like 60 something,
how is he still running? Let's talk about that for a second.
doing his own stunt. You know what I'm saying? He making me be like, you know what? In my older years, I'm still gonna be,
Okay, he's also probably doing.
Tom
He's
Cruise
probably
is 63.
he probably has a special doctor. He's got a special. He's doing a little this. He's doing a little this, a little
Oh
that.
yeah, we getting the
He's,
hookup.
he's getting a hookup. He got a
He Benjamin
nutritionist.
Button. Like
He got
they
one.
made
He
that
got a
movie
Tom
about
Cruise.
him.
His Tom Cruise got a scientist working with him on set.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Here's what I think. So I guess, is there ever going to be somebody else, right, who gets 20 million off the top, right? Yeah, maybe. That's what I say. Like, maybe. What everyone loves is somebody who has the ability to sell. So even as films and television or whatever navigates, if somebody proves themselves to have the ability of like, hey, if you put me in it, you're going to make X amount of dollars back. Because that's all that equation is for Denzel and all those people. We know that if Denzel's in it, I'm at least making 100 million, right?
Right.
Like,
You're
so
gonna at least get
here's
that.
your 20. So yes, I think that does happen. I just think that we're in this kind of like movement of what's going on in filmmaking, right? Where like the people who used to making a film for $1 million, right? They're not getting that $1 million anymore. So now they have to come down to $250,000 land. They don't want to do that, right? But the people who've been at 250 now got to come down to 50. They don't want to do that. And I'm basing this off of my conversations I'm having with other producers, right? That have been doing that, right? But the thing is, for people who didn't have squat from jump, we
Jump.
up in there. We yeah, we said,
Give me
"Oh, y'all
that.
can't y'all can't figure it out. We gonna figure it out over here. We gonna take this. We gonna make lemons out of lemonade and run with it." They are doing what those people were doing at the $1 million film space. To them, that was making lemons and lemonade, and to us, we like, shoot, give us $1 million. So I think and even in our film space, there's certain people you can put in a film, you pay them their check because you know if I put such and such in the film, I'm going to make X amount of dollars back, right? And so I still think that ends up being true, which is interesting. Very interesting. All right. So, last topic of the day. So, are we selling too much sex in stories? And I was having a conversation, right? Here's how we got here. I was having a conversation with one of my friends. He happens to be one of my Muslim brothers, right?
Okay. Okay.
For context, right? One of my Muslim brothers, we be having some good fiery debates back and forth. Assalamu alaikum, right? And he was just talking about like, when I watch Bollywood films, like they be having whole romantic films and they don't even kiss in the film. And I was thinking about it, I was like, yeah, that is true. They don't. Like their celebration is like a dance or maybe a hug or whatever. Like they literally don't even kiss in a film. And then you look at American films, whether it's black or whatever, right? We got all types of butt and boobies and just all types of everything else just out shaking about, right? And so I said that would be a good debate. Are we selling too much sex? You kicked off the last one, so I'll kick off this one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say we're telling way too much sex in films, and my perspective is different now as a mom, right? I probably would have said yes 2 years ago, but now as a mom, I'm on hell yeah. It's too much. It's way too much because what we are showing our daughters and our sons, right, is that in order to become successful on a certain level, right, you have to sell sex. And I feel like that is wrong. It is not wrong for you to say, I want to be able to express myself. I want to be able to show my body, right? But my issue is the have to. You get what I'm saying? Like, and now we're at the point of have to, right? You gotta take your clothes off. And I don't think that that is necessary to tell a story, right? If the story calls for it, like for me, is like full blown nudity to me is like, okay, do we want the character to appear vulnerable? Right? Like, is there a difference between how this character is interacting with one character versus the net? It's very much story driven, right? If I have it in my film, story driven. I'm not just doing it for no reason, right? Like that part. And I think most of our content, especially our independent content, it is not for a purpose driven reason. They just want people to be looking at some butt naked people. And
Uh,
they just showing it all. I'm like, woo, this is BET Uncut turned up. And I don't think that is necessary. And I also don't want our young females, right, to think that you have to do that in order to become successful. So I'll pause. What are your thoughts?
um, when as you was speaking, I started to think about white films. You know,
Okay.
white film, white TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that much nakedness. But when you come to us, when we come to us, we seeing the smacking on the booty. We seeing
Mhm.
the whole motion in the ocean. You know what I mean? Hair pulling. You know what I'm saying? Grabbing the neck. You know, all that's like, yeah, we getting it in. But you know, so to say that, no, we don't need the all of that, you know, and sometimes it's not in the story, like it's not. But at the same time, you know, it was a term and is the term falling off that sex sells. You know what I'm saying? And if that's well, why did it sell in the first? I guess because people never saw nothing. Now it's like, oh, it's seeing something. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Imma
So
let you finish your thought. Go ahead.
first episode of Chloe Bailey's show
Yep.
when
Swarm.
Damson was in it. First episode. He wasn't even in no more episodes, was he? He was just sitting there
Watching
one.
it.
Yeah, he was just sitting there one. Bang, there you go. Now the show going. Now the show got rotation. You know what I mean? So it's hate to say it, you know, but it's to a point where still selling. You know what I mean? People still watching it. And I mean, yeah, that's it because if it's just to have sex in a film, it's not, you know, a good I'm not gonna say it's not a good film, but your storyline of the film, you know, needs more structure, so to speak. Because you could have brought that in without it just being, oh, the homegirl came over. Well, what else we gonna do? We here. It's a Netflix and chill type thing in a movie, like you know, see, you
You
know,
can insinuate it without it having to show it, and I think that people underestimate the power of that, right? We can insinuate what went on. And to your point, though, we watch white shows and you don't see that much. Like, we know, like, you don't why is it that well, I'll tell you why. It's a historical thing, right? We could take it all the way back to slavery, right? Always been an over sexualization of us, whether
us,
it's black men and their male body parts, right? And just the way that they describe things as animalistic, right? Because of the lack that others have, right? We could just leave that there, right? We
exactly,
could talk about how curvaceous our bodies have been from day one, right? To where other people didn't have it. So it was desirable or more taboo, so to speak, right? Then we get into the media, and to me, it was an attempt to make something less valuable, right? Because if they showed us naked, it dehumanized us, right? And it made us more salacious, right? More of the other woman versus not doing that to the white counterpart, right? When it comes to females. And my problem with this is if we over sexualize ourselves as black people, how do we expect white people not to do it to us? And that is the problem. Right.
yeah,
And so I applaud Bollywood for somehow figuring it out. Right. Some of that is cultural and religious.
yeah,
Right. In their culture. Right. And in their religion, it's a lot more conservative. But at the same time, right, where is our attempt? Right. To at least have more to leave to the imagination. And this is beyond film. This is
right,
beyond television. This is when it comes to music, right? Like, how as females do we want people to respect us when I feel like there is a disrespecting that we're doing of ourselves? I think there is a thin line between, I don't I don't like to describe over sexualization as female empowerment. And there's this confusion that's going on with the younger generation between those two, right?
right,
Just because you can, right? Meaning you do have the ability to, let's say, walk around and have your, things showing on your boobies out, right? Doesn't mean that you should. And I
right,
think, like, that part. Yes, just because you have them out does not give anyone the right or the permission to touch them or the permission to treat you differently, right, than somebody else who has them up. This is a fact, right? At the same time, you gonna get what you putting out there. You're going to the type of person that is going to be attracted to you when you are butt naked, whether it's in media or out and about in public, it is a different type of man than the one who's probably going to be attracted to you if you were just, you know what I'm saying, showing your curves a little bit, right? Like, and nobody said you have to hide it, tuck it, pull it up. Like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like at the same time, we don't see other cultures do that, right? And I feel like there's a little bit of a good reason why other cultures are not doing that. Why is it that we are constantly doing it? And I can go back to the media that we show our youth. We can go back to Love and Hip Hop. We can go back to Bad Girls Club. What's another? There's
It
now
was
I
it
can't
was
even keep
it was
it was
though.
before that, but I'm saying at least for my generation, the turn, right? The turn, somehow we went from Girlfriends to Love and Hip Hop, and it was fast. It was really fast. And then like your generation probably would have been like Flavor of Love, maybe like that would have been like closer. But still, it's like these images that we
It was
promote
before
and
that too.
yeah, and even before that, um, now it's like I don't know. There's so many out there to the point where I can't even keep up with them. Like there's literally whole platforms where the whole point is to be wild but naked.
Ray J platform.
Ray
He don't
J,
care what's on there. He don't care
yeah,
what's on there. Just grab
ins-
it and put it on there. Just
insanity. So
insanity.
how do we expect people to respect us when we don't respect our and that could be in anything. That could be when we could talk about African American men too, right? About like how they hold themselves versus how people view them, right? Like no, we can't control to a certain extent how people are going to react to us, but at the same time, we can set an example of what it is that we want for ourselves. And I feel like it's too much. Put the clothes on.
Yeah. But I think it started when record labels started to let rappers call women bitches and do all
Yes.
that type of stuff in songs, and then it gets to us and we think it's cool because our favorite rapper is saying it. You know what I'm saying? And that carried on into the neighborhoods and it carried on into the culture. Then it kind of drove the culture because whoever was the CEO of BET at the time, Nelly Tip Drill was that was a strip club song.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
and the video just sitting there right there like bang. And I remember you being young and there watching it, you know what I'm saying? Like the volume low, you know what I'm saying? Because if mama see you in there watching you sleep. It started at like 12. It started at like 12, like midnight. That's when the after uncut started it. It started that late. So you up that late trying to see that tip drill, you know, and then I had the credit card and did like this down the
Yeah, that was the it was that was yeah.
yeah, you know, so not Nelly, we not saying it's you alone. You
It's
know what I
not you
mean?
alone, but that was the era. The bend it over, bust it open era was
Era, yes.
in between that era of music where I don't even y'all might as well have been nut naked because it
Right.
was that much skin shown in those
Then
music
Hollywood
videos.
took it, then they took it a little further and made uh our queen of film at the time have a sex scene
Yep.
with to get an Oscar. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And she had great roles before that. Like, you know what I
It
mean?
didn't
Didn't get
matter
no
though.
nominations, nothing. You know?
That's the role they rewarded, which
That's
gives the
true.
signal that this is what you need to do in
What you need
order
to
to
do to get this. And then did it to Denzel with him having to be this un this this cop that was just terrible. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just wrecking through everything. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the one they gave him one for. Well, they gave him one for a slave, and then they gave him one for the dirty cop.
Yeah. You know, so but we can't win for losing, you know?
Yes, but why do we do continue to do it to ourselves? That's the only thing. That's the
Because they
argument
give
that
us the money. They gave us the money to do it. They give Spike all that money to go make Chirac. Like, what?
see, you would know more about that because that was what was your thoughts on that film? I didn't watch it. I personally didn't watch it.
I can't believe only reason it probably was really filmed and we didn't hear much about what went on with that is because they put so much money behind it that they had security. But if you don't if you went there and tried to shoot that like that, they would have been ran up out of a lot of places. You know what I'm saying? A lot of
They gave
areas.
him it had a $15 million budget, which, in Hollywood, that's relatively small, but for Black people, Black films, that's pretty large. Yeah.
That was pretty good. Yeah. And and then at the time we was getting Batman filmed there. We was, I think the Chicago franchise was just really starting up. You know what I mean? So we needed something that would have been great to bounce off that. You know what I'm saying? Of everything like that instead of just having this
I just didn't get
goofy
the
film.
storyline with that one. That would be the question that I would ask Spike. Is like, you know what? But everybody had some films that just everybody has a couple that just don't hit. So we just gonna
That
we ain't gonna dog
Hollywood,
my brother. We just gonna be like,
I
man,
remember,
that was
yeah,
that.
I remember Eddie Murphy. They was talking to him, and it was like his agent called him in for Norbit, right? And
Mhm.
he said he had read it, and he was like, "Man, I ain't feeling this." And his agent came in, sat down. He slid him a piece of paper, and he said he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, "What's this? Your new phone number?" He said, "No, that's what they want to pay you."
Well,
Yeah,
this
Norbit.
sound all right.
And then he did Norbit, and then I think it was kind of like a downfall from there. You know what I mean?
He took a break. I mean, he didn't need no more money. He didn't need no more money. He didn't need no more movies. Eddie Murphy didn't have, I mean, from Daddy Daycare on, he didn't have the full
Yeah,
gambit of a career. That was a check. Every now and then, though, you might have to pick up a check.
you might need
That's
to
what
pick
we
up
need.
a check.
We need more of them to talk. More of the big ones to talk about. Yeah, you know what? I pick up a check. I think Will Smith talked about Wild Wild West. That was a pick up a
That was a
check.
check. That was most definitely a check.
I was a check. He said, "I picked up that check." It kept it pushing. I don't think that if you look at if you're full gambit of what it is that you do, and you have one film that you're like, I don't think it necessarily is a slight on your legacy. Now, if
No.
you start having multiple, you'd be like,
Yeah, like the end of Shaq career. He's like, "Bruh,
yeah, go, get it. It wasn't looking good. It looked like somebody old uncle out there playing.
couldn't even get up the court. Shaq, go sit down, man. You rich."
He couldn't even get up the court.
He gained so much weight. But yeah,
Oh my goodness. All
that's
right,
crazy.
well, that is a great way to end today's episode. Another one in the
Um,
books.
Another one
Make
in the
sure
books.
that you check us out. Tap in with us on the Casting Couch Pod clips on Instagram, TikTok, all the things. Follow us on IG. He is City Kid Ray Ray. I am the Real Scribe on IG. We are your co-hosts. We missed our buddy Johnny Crown, Kennedy Scribe, Cash Store Ray, and Ray Johnson.